it's Marion at the Homework Helpline Hub, and welcome to a 10-minute blast all about decimals today. So this is an introduction to decimals. So I'm going to explain what decimals are and how to turn fractions into decimals and decimals into fractions, because that's a really important thing to learn when we're in Key Stage 2. So this is for sort of Year 4 children, maybe some Year 3 will be watching. And if you're in Year 5 or 6, this is really good revision for you. So let's get started. Now, decimal begins with the letters D-E-C, dec, and that means 10. And we see that in other words such as decade, which is 10 years, decathlon, which is that sport where they all do like 10 different sports. Like a triathlon is 3 different sports, a heptathlon is 7 different sports, and a decathlon is 10 different sports. And a decagon is a 2D shape with 10 sides, but they all have dec at the beginning. So if we remember that decimals relates to tens or tenths, then you'll be absolutely fine. So let's get started on exactly how that works. Here I have a number line from 0 to 1. Okay, so this is just 1 unit. Think of it as a chocolate bar, if you like, just 1 chocolate bar cut into 10 equal parts. Now you all know that if I cut 1 unit into 10 equal parts, each of those equal parts will be 1/10. Okay, those are fractions, nice and easy so far. Now we can turn those fractions, tenths, into decimals using our columns. Now you are also familiar with hundreds, tens and units. So if I have 100 and I divide that by 10, I get 10. The digit 1 moves 1 place to the right, and we have 100 divided by 10 is 10. If we have 10 divided by 10, that 1 digit moves 1 place to the right and enters the units column. So divide by 10, divide by 10. Now, if I divide that 1 by 10, we're going to move it 1 place to the right, and there's a new column here. Just get rid of my words, which are going to get in our way. So I put a decimal point in here. And then we have what we call the tenths column. Okay, that's the tenths column, not tens, tenths. Now, if we put our decimal points in here, I can move that 1 place to the right to make it smaller and put it in the tenths column. Now, I do need to write the 0 in the units column to show that there are no units, and I need to put the decimal point in there. So we write 1/10 as 0.1. So we've got 100 divided by 10 is 10, 10 divided by 10 is 1, 1 divided by 10 is 1/10, 0.1. Okay, so that's where the tenths column comes in. With these numbers, if you just fill them up with a 0, it doesn't change the value of these numbers here at all. So we can have 10.0 or 10.0, exactly the same as 10. 1.0, 1, exactly the same as 1. So let's have a look at these tenths in a little bit more detail. So if I have 1/10, that would be 0.1. If I have 2/10, then that will be 0.2. 3/10 would be 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and so on, all the way up to 0.9, and then we hit our unit, which is 1. So let's do some converting. Let's see if we can change fractions into decimals. So 2/10 can be written as 0.2. Good, well done. And 4/10 can be written as 0.4. Let's do a couple more. What is 6/10? Would be 0.6. Excellent. Now let's do it the other way around. If I wrote 0.7, how many tenths is that? That is 7 tenths. Good, well done. I can see that you're getting this. Brilliant. Okay, so that is tenths. Now, important to notice when we're talking about tenths that we can only deal in tenths. We cannot say 1/3. We can't change 1/3 into decimals because it's not a tenth. We can't change 1/4 into decimals because it's not a tenth. But look, here's a little bit of an extension for you. What if I had 1/5? Would I be able to change that into decimals? Well, I can if I change it into tenths first using equivalent fractions. Have a little look at some of the other videos if you're not sure about equivalent fractions. But to find an equivalent fraction, remember I've got to turn it into tenths. I need to do exactly the same to the bottom. Sorry, I need to do exactly the same to the top as I do to the bottom. So what have I done to turn fifths into tenths? We've times it by 2. So I must do the same to the top number, the numerator. I must times that by 2 as well. So I have 2 tenths now. And now, because that's in tenths, I can turn it into a decimal. Excellent. Right. Let's have a look at some whole numbers. And then we'll go on to hundredths. So let's have a look at some whole numbers. If we have 3 and 4 tenths. Now, you'll know from your mixed numbers that that means that's 3 whole ones and that's 4 tenths. That's our fraction. It's a mixed number because it's got a whole number and a fraction together. They're mixed up. How we write that as a decimal is that that 3 is our units. So we put a 3 in the units column and then a 4 in the tenths column. You can write units and tenths on top if that helps. So 3 and 4 tenths is the same as 3.4, and 6.8 as a mixed number would be 6 whole ones and 8 tenths. Okay, you can have a few little practices on those if you'd like. I'm going to move on to hundredths now because it's important that we know about both of them. So cast your memory back to the beginning of this little maths blast and see, remember I cut, we had hundreds, tens and units, and now we have tenths, okay? We did 100 divided by 10 was 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 divided by 10 is 0.1. Now, to find our hundredths, which we put over here, we're going to divide tenths by 10. So we move 0 point, and I have to fill up the tenths column with a 0 and write the 1 in the hundredths column. So now we have divide by 10, divide by 10. 1 divided by 10 is a tenth, and a tenth divided by 10 is a hundredth. Now, one of the common misconceptions here is because 10 tenths sounds like 10 and hundredths sounds like 100, you imagine that hundredths are bigger than tenths. They're not. They're 10 times smaller. And the best way to remember this is that if you look at a ruler and you look at, I've got a ruler just here. If you look at a ruler and you say, right, okay, so if I have a meter ruler, if you divide that by 10, then you have 10 centimeters. So that much is 1/10 of a meter. If I divide that whole meter ruler by 100, I only have 1 centimeter, and that is 100th of a meter. And you can see, obviously, that 1 centimeter is a lot smaller than 10 centimeters. So for hundredths, they go in here and they are smaller. My next little lesson that I'll do with you on Wednesday, I think, is going to be about ordering decimals, but it's important to know what they are. So let's just convert fractions into decimals. So 2 hundredths would be 0.02. 5 hundredths would be 0.05. Let's do one more down here. 9 hundredths would be 0.09. Remember to pop that 0 in the tenths column so that we've got our digit in the hundredths column. Okay, good. One little bit of extension before I finish is, what if I have 40 hundredths? Now, if we have 40 hundredths, that means that, I can't write 40 in the hundredths column, but I can change this into tenths. You can see that they both divide by 10. So let's divide them both by 10, and 40 hundredths is the same as 4 tenths. Can you remember how to write 4 tenths? 0.4. So 40 hundredths is the same as 4 tenths, which is the same as 0.4. Good. So what little mixed number, what is 2 and 3 hundredths? Would be 2.03. 4 and 42 hundredths would be, this is getting trickier now, 4.42 hundredths means 4 tenths, remember, and 2 hundredths. So that's a 4 in the tenths column and a 2 in the hundredths column. Let's do that once more, and then you can finish. So this is 3 and 26 hundredths would be 3 whole ones and 2 tenths and 6 hundredths. Okay, well done everybody. Thank you for listening, and I shall see you next time. Bye.